Welcome to this second video. This is the second part of the backbone to success. Right, okay, first video we covered the 15 seconds of positive thought. Wasn't easy, was it? You know, I'll come on to how easy it wasn't in a minute. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to take that 15 seconds, right, and turn it into 15 minutes. Right? Now I know what you're thinking. Sounds impossible, right? Well, it's not going to be. I'm going to show you some techniques for doing it, and I'm also going to show you some techniques for making the 15 seconds actually happen for those of you who didn't actually manage to make it happen. I wanted you to have a go with it without too many of these other techniques, just to show you, to introduce you to that voice inside your head. Okay, firstly, well, did you practice? Did you do it? Did you achieve it? You know, did you actually get it to the 15 seconds? Can you control your mind now for just 15 seconds? Right? Yet. Right? Because if you can't, then you're really going to struggle, and you really need this. If you've managed to do it, brilliant. Yeah, you're one of the few. Not a lot of people can do that actual bit to start with, but you know, it's just practice. It's just something that's going to come. Okay, right. That person, that voice inside your head, which caused you to not be able to hold the 15 seconds for more than 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. That's the nutter, right? That's your ego, and your ego's running the show. Right, the reason you can't create the success in your life is quite simply because you have not got clarity of thought. You are not the one choosing which thoughts go into your head. Your ego is choosing them for you. And what needs to happen is for you to actually create success. First thing you've got to do, and I mean this is the foundation of all success, is get rid of that. Get rid of that voice. Okay, so firstly, I want you to try again with it. I'm not going to do the 15 seconds thing now. I want you to try again later today. And it's really a case of this time, if you're still struggling with it, is if you know, when you do it and you get annoyed with yourself, yeah, no, I've done it again. I can't hold for more than, no, right, forget all that, right? You can't get stressed, right? You just got to be relaxed about it. That's the way it is. And as you're there, imagine yourself watching yourself, thinking, oh, crumbs, I've failed again. Oh, I have failed again. I can't do it. I can't do this bit. And it's a case of then start to find it funny, right? Start to find it amusing that you're not the one in control of your mind, right? Because if you can actually sit there and start to laugh at the entity that's creating this mess for you, you can actually change things. You can actually start to change things. So it's a case of the more you relax, the more you're going to take control. The more you fight it, the less control you're going to have. Okay, right. Well, for the few of you who did it, did you feel the power? Did you experience how powerful it was? How good you felt after the 15 seconds? And did you find that 15 seconds became 25, 30 seconds without really too much effort at all? Did you find that this is cool and you actually enjoyed it? And some people I know that have experienced this have ended up, you know, holding this one thought for 15, 20 minutes just on its own. Well, to get to, you know, I know people think, well, it's hard to do that, but it's not. I'm going to show you the technique in a second. If you can get to 15 minutes a day, effectively what you get is you get to have an impenetrable force shield. Nothing can get to you because what you've done is you've absorbed nothing but positive information, grateful stuff that you're grateful for 15 solid minutes, and it provides you with an energy that's immeasurable. And once you've done it, everyone who's experienced this, and I haven't heard anyone out of all of the people I've shown this to, there isn't one person who hasn't experienced this 15 minutes and not said it's the most fantastic experience they've ever had, because it's a case of you are completely in the zone, right? And what happens is you've silenced all the junk that's going on, and you've got access to your subconscious mind, and all of a sudden things are starting to flow, and you're getting it again. It's really starting to work. So how do we get to it? Well, what we need to do is a case of, I myself struggled with this, and I thought, oh, how do I do this? And I thought, my problem was that it's a case of no matter how good the thought was, I couldn't think about it for more than 2-3 minutes, right? So it's a case of after that, it was a case of I wanted to think about something else. You know, it's like, that's great, you know, and because I was so in the zone, I'd just go straight into it, and it'd make me feel, you know, really emotional and that sort of thing. And it was just incredible, it was incredible feelings. So what I did was I thought, well, how do I get this 15 minutes and beyond? Because if 15 minutes can do, you know, 3 minutes can do this much power, I want more of this. Because as soon as you start getting into this, you're like, you'll figure it out. And you go, this is incredible. This is really powerful. So what I did was I sat there and I went, right, okay, well, let's write a grateful list out, everything I'm grateful for. And I just sat there and literally in 20 minutes I wrote 79 things, I think it was, on my list. And I wrote these things. And it doesn't have to be anything special, right? Because people said to me, I can't think of anything to be grateful for. Right? So what you're saying to me is you've never had a pleasurable experience sitting in the pub, you've never had a good laugh with your family, you've never had anything good happen in your life at all, right? Well, I suggest you go back and evaluate it, because you could actually say, well, sit and watch an episode of one of the TV sitcoms where you've laughed your head off at something. That could be enough, right? Just a positive experience. It can also be an experience that hasn't happened yet, because your mind is incredibly powerful. You can go forward in time, you can go back in time, And so all you've got to do is you've got to think, right, well, one experience I had was which hadn't happened and still hasn't happened, as it happens, is I decided that I saw my daughter with me at SeaWorld in Florida. And so what I did was I just pictured her there, looking at the killer whales, in the tank under, so where you can see through under the water, and I just saw that, and I visualised it in my mind. Well, anyway, I came up with stacks of these things. It's like when my dad told me he was proud of me, and all the other sort of stuff that things have gone on in your life, where it's a case of you looked at them. One thing I found quite interesting when I banged out my 79 items in that short period of time, not one of them was a material wealth thing. They were all, some of them came from the fact that I'd created millions, and it was a case of I was able to go and, have some wonderful times because of it. But none of them came from an actual material thing. It all came from experience, things I was really grateful for. And so what happens is, when you spend your time, those 15 minutes, focusing on them, what happens is you end up creating you're focusing your mind on that. And what happens is you create more of it. So because you're telling your mind, this is what I like, this is what I love, and your mind goes, oh cool, I'll go and create some more of that for you then. Right, so you're not thinking of pain and problems and that sort of thing, you're thinking of only positive stuff. There's nothing to do with positive thinking. All this is having holding positive thought for a short period of time to build an energy field, to build like a force shield around you. And what happens is you'll get, as you go through this, and let's take this list. You start at the top of the list and you go into it. So instead of me just thinking about, let's say my number one on my list was David sitting at the back of the aeroplane and that sort of thing, and you sit there and I think about, okay, I think about the smell of the aeroplane, the oily, I don't know if you've ever flown in a private plane, but in a small private plane, but they're, they smell of a lot of oil, mechanical sort of thing. And, I remember the smell of the grass and the fresh sea breeze that was blowing in as well. And it was like a cool day, so it felt a little bit chilly. I can remember the feel of the yoke and the leather seats and everything like that. And I can hear the conversation because my mum and my wife were with me as well. And I remember hearing the conversation. I remember calling on the radio, and I remember looking around. And I remember doing all my pre-flight checks, and I keep remembering. You see what I mean? I'm talking about the whole thing, but I'm not just saying it like I'm saying it to you now, because I'm not really there. But when I'm thinking it, I'm actually there. I'm back there at that time, because your mind is very powerful and you can go back and you can fully experience and remember it. And it's a case of, right, when you've had enough of that thought, go to the next one on your list. And it's a case of you go through the next one on your list. And, it's like the SeaWorld experience. You can go through the whole thing of how much good thinking you're doing about that. And you're creating these things into your life. So what happens is, I did this and I thought, well, this will get me to 15 minutes. And the first time I did it in a sauna. And I sat there and I went through it all, and it was like, blimey, how long was I gone for? And I was gone for like 45 minutes or something like that. But the energy I had was incredible. I came straight out and I had several problems to deal with, and I had the solutions already in my head, because they'd been given to me by my subconscious, because as soon as I shut the noise up, my subconscious was able to, impart information to me. So it's worth figuring this out. It's worth writing a gratitude list. The only reason you wouldn't write a gratitude list is, frankly, because your ego's convincing you not to. So if you'd like to defy that nutter inside your head and actually go, stuff this, I'm going to just sit here and write some things I'm grateful for, and don't stop writing. A little technique I was taught by a very clever copywriter was get a piece of paper and write them on paper first, and just don't let the pen leave the paper. Just start with one and then just keep writing. I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for I'm grateful for my wife, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for this, that, the other, an experience, find an experience, and just write, and then just type them up later, do whatever you want with them, but basically just let your subconscious mind flow. Just don't try too hard, yeah? Trying hard isn't a good thing, right? Everything I do is all about easy. So you don't want to try too hard. Okay, now once you've done this, right, once you've done this positive thought and you've been able to master the 15 seconds, then you've been able to bring in the 15 minutes. Over a period of time, you're going to all of a sudden notice that you're not thinking about anything at all. And little moments are going to appear in your mind when you realise that you weren't thinking. Yeah, and that's when you've started to bring in no mind. And what you want to do is you want to expand on this. And when you notice one of these moments of no mind, sometimes when I first did it, I imagined myself sitting inside my head, and the thoughts were trying to come in, and I'm like, like Buddha trying to hold the thoughts back. And then all of a sudden, what happened was that stopped, and I didn't need to do that anymore. All of a sudden, I was just sitting there, and I was watching them and holding them back without thinking, right? And it was just the only thought was me sitting there. And then all of a sudden, there was no thought of me sitting there, and there was no thought at all. And what happens is when you get to that side, and sometimes I'll be gone for 10-15 minutes. This isn't about meditation, because I really don't do meditation or really understand it that well at all. What I was able to do though, I couldn't handle the 30 minutes effort to get to that zone. So what I did was, without realising, I didn't know this was at the back of it, but now it's a case of I can bring in no mind in 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. And go completely into the zone and just almost get access to my subconscious mind just like that, and you are completely in control. So there's some real benefit hidden behind this. Now at that point, your mind is still, and you can control your thoughts. So no matter what's going on, it's when I was, I know this might sound impossible, but believe me, you can control anything. When it was going on with me, I had public humiliation, I had threats of violence, I had death threats. There was just everything was going on off everywhere. It's hackers hacking into computers and that sort of thing. It was just what most people would say was an absolute nightmare. I was completely serene because I chose what thoughts went inside my mind, and I was in control of it. So of course, all of this nightmare that would should have destroyed me was just happening, and I was watching it happen. It was a case of by this time it was out of control. So it was a case of I was just able to sit there and watch it, but it didn't affect me. It was a case of it was like I had magical powers over it, and basically I was able to just go, okay, well we'll do this then, do this. And it was completely unemotional. There was no hardship, and that's because I was able to still my mind. I wasn't there sitting there thinking, oh, well, this is going to happen or that's going to happen or anything like that. It was a case of I was able to look at the problem and deal with the problem. That's it. It's really pretty simple. You can't create your future without a silent mind. So unless you can focus your thoughts completely on one subject and actually go, right, well, I'm going to go and create that, you can't get there. The odds of you being a success are phenomenally small. So, unless you can get to this point and break this point, you aren't going to be a success. I'm not kidding here. This is like, the people who can do it, they can do it already, but they don't know how they do it. The successful ones haven't figured out how they did it. The only reason I figured this stuff out was because I had, I'd experienced the success and I'd experienced the failure, and I had to retrace my steps when I experienced the failure and go, well, how the hell did I create it so easily when I had the success? And I figured out how we did it. And I figured out how all successful people do it. And so I figured it out so I could teach it to you. Right, okay, so your future becomes certain when you know how to control your mind. When you know how to control your mind and you can define exactly what you want, which we'll talk about in one of the other videos, then you can create that success. And until that point, you can't, because you're not in control of your mind. Okay, that's it for this video. I trust you learned something. More importantly, I trust you're going to apply something to your life here, because nothing gives you more power than this initial 15 seconds gives you a taste of just how out of control you are. And then as you develop it into 15 minutes of control, that gives you the most amazing, abundant power that I can give you, because it's a case of as soon as you've got that, it's like you're in control again. Now, when you're in control, you can start to build, you can start to create a success. Don't get me wrong, there's loads of other things that need to be removed, bad programming that's going on there, but this gives you the foundation. These are the foundation to success, the backbone to success, basically. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about what the one common difference is between you and every successful person on the planet. And I'm going to show you how how to get around it. Okay, that's it. Please leave your comments and suggestions and questions below, and feel free to share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching.